Hello, this is Steven out, and yes, we are back with another Green Hornet 66 episode review. Today, we'll be reviewing the episode, Freeway to Death. So without any further ado, let's hop straight into this review. We begin the episode with Mike Axford meeting at essentially an old shack at a construction site, where he meets an informant to reveal on the latest racket on the construction insurance racket, to reveal who's probably the big boss. Just as the meeting is about to begin, they hear a noise outside, and it's revealed to be essentially a bulldozer, and ends up running through the shack, completely destroying it. Even though Mike manages to get out okay, his informant does it and ends up being, getting killed. Whilst he's trying to avoid getting run over by the bulldozer, and seemingly looks like that, he might, that his time is up, he's saved at the last minute by the Green Hornet and Kato, and they take him, and essentially they take him away to safety. The opening credits, and we get back to where we left off. We get the Green Hornet essentially drives Mike Axford away, and they essentially discuss of, did he manage to get the information? He says no. I like how Axford is still hesitant to give the Green Hornet information. Again, he hates him with a passion. But I also could see that maybe he's a little bit grateful, but very slightly grateful, that he did essentially save him from almost getting killed. He asked if the person running the current racket was it Emmit Crown, but Mike Axford says no, as he doesn't know, as the guy told him before he could give the information. So he comes up with an idea that the two work together. They get the story they need and bust the racket. He clears out competition. Everyone wins. And this Mike does not want to go along with. He says, no, he will not go along with this. He says, well, shouldn't you ask your boss? He's like, don't worry, I know Britt Reed. I know what he's saying. So we cut to the next scene where Britt Reed says, well, do it. But he is shocked. To work with the Green Hornet is against everything that he kind of stands for. But he's given an order, so he does it. But very reluctantly. Casey then comes in and and basically comments on the thing, but Britt Reed says, don't worry, I'll be able to sour his, anger with a bonus. Next thing you know, we see Britt Reed go to essentially the construction site, where, in order to help along by making it, that Axford, to really buy the fact Axford is now teaming up with the Green Hornet for essentially a payday. He meets up with Emmit Crown, who, basically, saying how the informant, the so-called informant used to work for him, but they fired him due to him being a drunk. And Britt Reed is doing what I like it doing. He's planting the idea that, Mike, is a bit of a drink and it might be a bit delirious. So I like that he's kind of helping, convince him that, this guy, that Axford, to make it more believable that Axford is teaming with the Green Hornet for a big payday. Anyway, just as Britt leaves, he gets into an accident where a rock almost lands on him, but he manages to get away unscathed, and Emmit Crown comes running in to make sure that he is okay, but he says, but basically he's just saying, if these are one of these accidents, because again, Emmit pretty much implies that these people are too powerful, and, that he better be careful, as, that the harm could easily come to him. And then we get the usual scene with the Green Hornet, Kato, and Mike Axford going to a local insurance building, where essentially a fight breaks out. And, eventually tries to muscle their way into the racket for a payday. And tell the guy who's running it, the real person who runs this insurance company, the real boss, and that, what he wants is a big payday. Payday and all that. We get the scene where basically the thugs, well, the gangsters agree to, team up with the Green Hornet, and as the Green Hornet leaves, he tells him to don't try any tricks. And I like how the guy then tells his boss to not try anything, says that they're warning us not to try anything, and he goes, I'm not going to try anything, I'm just going to do it. It feels so natural, and a very great line that always stands out to me every time I see this episode. We then continue with the whole Axford still does not want to team up or do anything with the Green Hornet, saying that, he's got us this far, we can continue without him, but Britt said, no, we made a deal, we're going to go through with it. And later that day, Mike Axford gets a call from the construction guys, of where timing a meeting in a place, for this big payout. And as the Green Hornet calls up, Axford to say if they've contacted him yet, he says no, but he's still waiting. And just as he hangs up, Mike Axford then leaves, but just as he runs into Casey, he tells her that he's going to rack up this whole racket by himself with no help from the Green Hornet. He can tell the boss that. Just as that's happening, Casey says, but that wasn't Reed's orders. But I like the line that Axford gives, that, well, people around here think that he's, too old. He's been around here for long enough. People say maybe for too long. He still wants to prove to everyone in here that he's still the young guy that worked here 30 years ago busting the rackets. I like that little bit, but even though I like it and definitely adds dimension to his character, my gripe is it was never really built up in previous episodes, or even in this episode to make it feel organic. It kind of came out unnaturally. Despite I really like the line, it really shows more about Axford's character, it feels like it came out of nowhere, really. However, Casey realized that, he's going to get into trouble. Her natural instinct is to call up Britt Reed. We then cut to Mike Axford, meeting with Emmett Crown and the rest of the gangsters, and basically trying to broker a deal. The racket will be completely hushed up for a quick pay, for a large sum of money. Emmett doesn't believe him, seeing that, he's double-crossed the Green Hornet. Mike Axford's really of no use, and orders he's meant to pretty much take him away, take him essentially for a one-way ride and kill him. Just as that's happening, the Green Hornet, and by that I mean the Black Beauty, turns up and starts fire, and essentially Mike Axford used this opportunity to run away from the gangsters. Just as that's happening, all the bulldozers are cornering the Black Beauty, and essentially the Black Beauty starts firing rockets, stopping the bulldozers from essentially crushing the Black Beauty from being essentially destroyed. After that, they then start firing rockets at Emmett Crown and his gangsters who are trying to get away in their car, but they don't get to. The Black Beauty then pulls over and then ends up fighting, Emmett Crown and all the gangsters. Again, Bruce Lee as Kato, short and sweet, and honestly, I just really like, it just feels like a nice comeuppance to these guys. Just as that's happened, Mike Axford comes in to see all the meds, and the Green Hornet says, well, we'll leave you to clean up. And just as Emmett Crown's about to get up, Mike Axford turns around and gives him a wallop. It's nice, fun, and just feels like he's so earned it. And then he watches the Black Beauty essentially drive off, and the little smirk Axford gives to himself. In the epilogue, Axford is reeling at how he's, busted the racket, but however, Britt Reed does scold him for why going it alone, not with the Green Hornet. Mike Axford says it was the Green Hornet's plan. He'd go in alone with the Green Hornet as kind of backup. Even though they know the real truth, they don't know the real truth. They let Max Axford go off and essentially have his fun of proving that, he's still just as tough as he was. I like how Casey says he's not going to let him off the hook. He could reveal he was the Green Hornet, but Britt Reed does not want to ruin his fun. And we end the episode there. Casey and Frank Scanlon don't get much to do this time around. I like how the episode is really about Mike Axford and the Green Hornet, with their character. As again, throughout the series, we've always seen that Mike Axford is, even though can be somewhat bumbling and sometimes trip over his words, he's a genuinely decent guy. He's a guy and an honest man who all he wants to do is find the truth. Sometimes he pins nearly everything on the Green Hornet without really any hard evidence. It's just speculation. Even he admits it's just a hunch. He's still pulled up for it. So I like the concept he is forced to team up with the Green Hornet. And I like how and even though I do like it, I really wish for more of his character. Could maybe see there's something more to the Green Hornet than just being this notorious gangster or criminal that the papers is, and would have been good for his character further going on. But then again, this was 60s television. Something like that rarely happened, unless it was maybe, I don't know, marriages and kids happening in a TV show. That can sometimes happen, but not something with this dramatic for a 60s TV show. And what about the villain? Emmett Crown, portrayed by Jeffrey Hunter. Honestly, he's I don't know. He's kind of forgettable. Nothing against the actor, but then again, most of the Green Hornet villains really weren't. I like how, for the most part, he seemed like this is a guy running the racket, is more on the ground level, like he's more with the construction workers, and not some high-end big shots. So it does make him different, and he does kind of stand out a little bit, but I do say a little bit. He's kind of just run-of-the-mill racket boss that the Green Hornets just kind of goes up against by the week, but nothing really interesting to really make him stand out. But he's not the worst racket boss I've seen on this show. So he is what he is, I guess. And again, I understand we're going into that show that these villains aren't going to be as big and colorful as the Batman show was. They're going to be more grounded in realism. So I think they might have nailed that with this guy of the guy running the racket is some guy you wouldn't expect to run a racket. He's just, you know, someone more low on the totem pole. Essentially a foreman, a construction foreman who's now running a very lucrative racket. Freeway to Death is, for me, a fun episode. What I like about it is it really challenges Mike Axford's relationship with the Green Hornet. Something that was always done on the show with, you know, Mike Axford seeing the Green Hornet as the bad guy, wanting to nail him. But he's put in a position where he's forced to work with him, though reluctantly he does. And I wish more of that could have been done with the story, but it's fun overall. And honestly, I kind of like it, that they at least attempted to. It could have been done more, but the fact they attempted to, and honestly did it reasonably well, could have been done better, yeah, but it was done reasonably well, and that's why I really love it. There we have it. That was Freeway to Death. That was my thoughts on the episode. Tune in next time when we review May the Best Man Win. So until next time, this has been the Steven Hour, and ladies and gentlemen, so long for now.